Hey, everybody! Michelle is here. So I want to go back to talking about something real quick before I go on, um, because remember when I said that I don't know what was said to my parents when I started going to elementary school back in the day, and why they felt it was necessary to separate me from, have the black kids on one side, have the white kids on one side, and then have me with the white kids. And the white kids never said a word to me. I didn't like that. And so I pretended I couldn't keep up. And then they put me back over with the black students. Now, like I said to you, my parents didn't finish school at all. So, but they knew it was important for us to be educated. That they knew because of the fact, like I said, my dad's family had their property stolen, and I'll go into more detail about that because I'll have to talk to some relatives that are still alive that may know, or they may have been too young. I don't know when all this happened. Um, so, like I said, my mom and dad treated all of us the same. They saw no difference in any of us, and they didn't treat us as if we were different. If I needed to clean up, I needed to clean up. And blah 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 blah. Um, Now, what I want to say is, so anytime, so many times, and see, this is what's tearing everybody up, is there anytime someone appears to be different, we always want to try to make them stand out, and we want to separate them. We want to probe and dig all deep inside of these people and try to figure out what makes them tick. We want to know what the hell, how their brain is working and how this and that and the other, like laboratory. We treat everybody as if we are laboratory rats or something, whether we are geniuses or not, whether we are high functioning or not. Okay, we always want to make people out to being something, geniuses. Like I said, I hate to see these so-called prodigies performing for adults. You got these 5-year-olds playing, classical music for adults. Why don't this 5-year-old play classical music for other 5-year-olds? Why do they have to play classical music for, fucking adults? I'm gonna say it because this stuff bothers. See, and usually those kids that have all this attention on them, what happens to them? Sometimes they disappear and become reclusive. Okay, sometimes they disappear and become severely depressed, or sometimes they disappear and navigate towards incels, that incel crowd, or they can disappear and become so radical and extreme, okay, because of their high intelligence, or they can become a mad scientist, right? Like and seeing these scientists go mad because we're giving them all these accolades about how much of a genius they are and how high their IQs are, and then you isolate them, and that's the worst thing you can do. Actually, is to isolate these type of people. They're supposed to be in the community, helping people, inspiring people. But no, we know these nefarious are usually in government, the CIA, okay, politics, you name it. Always want to separate these people and drain all kind of information out of them, and don't think that they are affected by it, and then toss them away when somebody else comes along. Okay, we do that shit all the time, and then you wonder and then we do that to kids, the prodigies, and then when these prodigies grow up, they change, so they morph so differently that nobody recognizes them anymore, and so they start creating mayhem and chaos and revenge and retaliation because you're taking them away from, humanity and people, and making them feel like they're so damn special, and they don't feel. I don't. Most of us don't feel that way at all. And I say us. Well, again, I know that I process things differently. Okay, and sometimes it can be considered as high functioning. And so anytime something is said, anytime word comes out of somebody's mouth, all I'm doing is attempting to give you an idea of who I am, and others do the same thing. But we always want to make them seem as though they're so special, and especially creative types, the ones that can do all this creativity, which is unimaginable. Whether it's in drawing, whether it's in singing, playing an instrument. We always isolate them and say, look, work on that craft. No, they don't need to be always working on the craft. They need to be working and being around other human beings. That's what they need to do. Okay? And usually parents are the ones pushing that shit. And thankfully, like I said, my mom and dad could care less. All right, they can care less about that. Whatever these teachers were telling them. And my parents treated me just like all the rest of my siblings. They didn't see anything special or nothing. And I know for a fact that because of that, what happened to me in elementary school, I continue to not perform. I purposely refuse. And so that's why I guess why it became so difficult. I became a class clown. I disrupted the classes. I was trying to make everybody laugh and all this kind of stuff. So my point is, we just need to leave these so-called child prodigies alone. Just like we need to leave everybody else alone. We love to interfere in a person's development. Okay, and like I said, the worst thing you can do with a young child, especially a child prodigy, is to separate them from other children and have them performing for idiot adults. Like adults need so much more entertainment than other children, where they could sit back and be, carrying on about how a 5-year-old can play classical music and all this kind of stuff. Or a teenager can solve the pi error, the mistake with the pi number, and all this other scientific stuff. We need to stop it. All right, we're tearing you're tearing up the development of these children when you're doing that. They're just high conscious. They just have a higher consciousness. So what? You need a balance of high consciousness versus low. That's how you equalize things. But again, we're always interfering and trying to take out all negative, which is deadly. Okay, and make everything so positive. No, it cannot be. You cannot have just everything all positive. It has to be a neutralized positivity. It has to be neutralized. It can't be extreme either way. Same thing with light and dark. So again, I want to just send thanks out to somebody, because I think someone out there is genuinely understands what I am attempting to share or explain or help in teaching and help in disseminating. Okay, there's nothing special about what I'm doing versus anybody else, and we need to stop it with doing that. Okay, and I've said it so many times that I can't handle a lot of details. I cannot. Now, what I need to know first is what's the big picture. Once I get a big picture, then I can kind of work down and work within the details, but I can't stay in details for long. Okay. And I think, I'm sensing, other creatives understand that. And so, and in subtle ways, they are validating what I'm saying. And in subtle ways, they can hear me, see me, and feel me, as I said before. And so in subtle ways, they're helping me. Okay. And I appreciate that. And there's no labeling to me or anybody else. A lot of people say, oh, maybe she's autistic. This always want to give people a title. Why can't I just be a human being? Can I be a human being, please? Okay. So, and be my own person. Can I be my own person? So I'm going to say this again. If I feel like someone's interfering with my technology, my developing. Now, some people say, oh, is that being paranoid? I know I'm not being paranoid. Okay. So, because I get the validations to prove otherwise. So my point is that there are some of us out here that we are to help people, help humanity. And that makes sense everywhere if you think about it. If you're being logical, in high schools, teachers always pick out one person to be what? An assistant. A teacher always needs assistants. In a business structure, there always there should be it should be equal, but it's not. It's more hierarchical, where you have somebody at the top that's unreachable, and they want to stay unreachable. They don't want you fucking with them. They don't want you talking to them. They want it to be a pyramid, right? Where it has to be trickled down. You have to talk to this person, and then that person talk to that person, and you never ever get to talk to the person at the top. Never. And that's how they want it. They don't want you to be accessible to them. They want you to go up these stairs or high, which is bullshit. You should always have a level of people. There should be an equal level of people assisting everybody on every level. Where it's horizontal. It's not just a pyramid. Okay? So I want to send thanks to whoever it is that has assisted me, assisting us, and assisting the whole mission, because I feel validated sometimes, but I don't want to be considered anything else but a human being. Okay, that has some information, just like everybody else does, and I decipher things the way I decipher things. Okay, I'm not forecasting shit. I'm not projecting nothing. Okay, and I want to be left alone in that regard. Because everybody is capable of understanding what's going on with this planet if we weren't so distracted on our cell phones all the time, having stuff in our ears, being rushed, and being, having to have people scheduling and all this bullshit going on. Okay, that's all I'm doing, and there's thousands of us, or we, doing the same thing, but most of them do it through creativity, and we often miss that as well. We want to say, "Oh my God," make them feel like they're different. No, they're just creative, artistic. Artistic meaning they work. I don't want to say I don't. Okay, they have not extreme. They have a high level of creativity. And their perception is more defined and more focused and more what's that? They just have a certain level of perception of things, and actually that's where we all ought to be. We should always be vibrating vertical, going up, but we don't. Okay, so again, we need to get out of all this, and like some of these celebrities, and these are these high, what do you call them, highly exposed entertainers or whatever. I mean, they enjoy being recognized and receiving awards. Okay, but a lot of them really don't need that. Right? And they'll tell you, because like I said, they'll do it whether they get paid or not. So we need to balance out all of that and bring in something more of a cohesiveness, where we're recognizing people, or not. We don't necessarily need to be recognizing people either all the time. We need to be honorable to our ancestors and and also, more importantly, to our descendants. They need to know that the ancestors that were that, as we are, did everything in our power to neutralize the damage we caused to the planet. Like I said, I said the damage is done, and damage is done, but there can be a level of decreased intensity. It doesn't have to be so intense, but it's still going to be damage nonetheless. It's going to be destruction nonetheless, but it doesn't have to be so intense and so destructive. And like I said, harmonizing that is what can help. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and send peace and love. And of course, I'll be back. God damn it. I'll be back. Peace and love.